can the church function with infallibility after the period of public divine revelation is over? And I would say basically no. And I would give 4 challenges to it. First, this is without any precedent in the Old Testament. The Jewish people didn't have ongoing offices of infallibility to determine and adjudicate on divine revelation and give you an infallible verdict. A lot of the epistemological conundrums that are placed upon us would apply to the Jewish people as well as Protestants. You have divine revelation itself, but you don't have that kind of ongoing office like that. That would be a new thing if it came into being. Secondly, it doesn't seem to be envisioned in the New Testament. There's so much information in the New Testament about the qualifications for certain offices and their function and so on and so forth. But there is no hint of any kind of post-apostolic office in the church that is infallible or any other kind of infallible rule that will arise. What people will sometimes appeal to is what is bound on earth, bound in heaven, Matthew 18, this kind of language. But that's about the apostles. I'm talking about what is envisioned for the post-apostolic church. I mean, if there is an infallible office after the apostles, we would need to know that information. That would be that would be more important than anything else that we could know for the offices of the church and the functions of the church. But it's just not there in the text of the New Testament. Third, it's also not present in the early generations of church history. Just like the Pharisees' conception of an oral law of Moses slowly evolves, it's in what I call an accretion, just a slow development over time, so also is the idea of ecclesiastical infallibility. All these conceptions of being unable to err in certain conditions, those are slow. I mean, some of them are really slow. I have a video where I talk about papal infallibility, for example. It's more medieval. They'll say, well, there's offices in the church that are divinely established, but we all agree with that. That's not the same thing as being incapable of error. Fourth problem is once you do get the idea of ecclesial infallibility coming into the picture, it seems to create more confusion than clarity, because supposedly infallible teachings don't have a good track record. And I've pointed to examples of this. I mean, of course, my work on icon veneration is something I would point to for that, and just the difference in the church between Nicaea 1 and Nicaea 2. But another area where I've done a whole video is no salvation outside the church. I would sum it up by saying, I'm sorry, guys, but it just really looks like this doctrine meant something different 800 years ago versus today. The stretching it out like a rubber band to try to make it work is so vast that it loses any sort of functional value. So at the end of the day, there's simply no good reason to accept the idea that the post-apostolic church possesses ongoing capacities of infallibility. It doesn't have precedent. It's not envisioned in our founding documents. It wasn't known by the earliest Christians, and it's problematic when it does arise. Can